Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network. 'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven. A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at ubnradio.com.
Live from Sunset Gower Studios, The Amazing Hour with Joanne O'Brien and Sabrina Johnson.
There's a power here within me. There's a strength that's deep inside. If I'm willing to be willing, the field is open wide. And I know I have the courage, so I push my fears aside and allow these words of truth be heard from every mountain high. I am amazing, I am amazing. There's nothing I can't do. I am amazing, I am amazing. And you're amazing too. We share a vision, we share a dream. Are you ready? Slow and steady, we are making history, 'cause we are amazing.
Wow. Welcome everyone to our 10th episode of The Amazing Hour, where we celebrate everyday superstars. We are live in Hollywood at the Sunset Gower Studios at UBN Radio. And you know that we are at ubnradio.com because you're watching right now. So I am Joanne O'Brien, and this
I'm Sabrina Johnson.
is Sabrina. Yay. So we're delighted. We have a great show lined up this evening, but we're going to do our check-in with each other.
Yeah. Well, in case you don't know, if you're in Los Angeles, something major happened. We finally got some water.
Oh, we did get some water.
We got some
Not
water.
the way we wanted.
But not the way that we wanted, but we do have lots of water. What happened was that the water pipe broke right off of the campus at UCLA, and they that Poly Pavilion is really kind of like underwater, a lot of it.
Wow. I can't wait to
So-
get home and watch the news. Or not.
Yeah,
I'll just
so-
listen here about it.
But the thing that amazes me about Los Angeles is that we're so connected, and we don't want to really realize how connected we are. But, I work in Beverly Hills, and so people were calling me, and my coworker says, wow, now you have lots of people concerned about your traffic. And I go, yes, it's wonderful. And but not only that, but then you get on the road, and everyone is really connected and affected by this because it goes for miles. And Sunset goes for miles. And so it goes from downtown to to the ocean. And so this is really affecting everybody. And you know what? It's like, as I really can't get flustered, because the thing is, I just kind of am just it amazes me of how connected we are, and yet how much we like to believe we're not.
Well, I know it's true. And when it comes to traffic, you can go anywhere. People post it on Facebook. They're tweeting about it. They're texting each other. So we take care of each other here in Los Angeles. I don't care what anyone says. We watch out for one another, especially traffic or when Obama is in town. I'm an Obama fan, but not when he's in town.
Well, talking about driving, our guest comes from a state, and I love their sign. What they say is drive friendly. And I love that. I love that because that to me makes such a difference between safe driving and cautious driving, but drive friendly, and it's
That's nice. Okay, I'm going to say that from now.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
I like that. I
like
remember
drive
driving
friendly.
through that state. I remember that. That was really cool. So, talking about guests.
Well, weren't we going to talk about one of the things
the
that we did
amazing
each week?
highlight.
Yeah, one of your
Amazing.
highlights for the week?
Well, it's it is very much related to to our guest.
I know, me too. Mine is as well.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Mhm.
So I usually have a pretty packed schedule, and I did a little bit on Saturday, lots of pampering, massage, and facial, and pedicure, and all that, and then the rest of the day, I read this wonderful book.
Oh.
And it happens to be written by our guest.
Oh, yay.
And
So,
the feeling, the amazing highlight was that it reminded me, this is the story I just have to tell, indulge me in this. When I was 10 years old, I had to have a surgery that I was pulled out of school. So I was homeschooled, but that still didn't keep me quite as active as it would have. So every day, in addition to homeschooling, I read one Nancy Drew book a day. And that was like, my mother had given me her original, tattered, like, if you ever saw them, they looked like denim-covered books, because they were just fabric-covered books, and she gave me hers, and then the new ones came out. And our housekeeper would take me to Fashion Island, and we'd go to, I think it was Walden Books. And
right, I remember Walden Books.
yeah, and we would go to Walden Books, and I remember how this clerk just had this, like, absolute just thing for this housekeeper of ours, Linda, with long red hair, and he had, like...
Oh, he had a crush on her. He had the hots for her. Oh, no, I get it. Okay, now I get it.
And he looked like Ozzy with his short red hair, and she had long red
my.
hair. And every time she'd come in with me, he was like, oh, we have more Nancy Drew books. And then I finished the series, and he was so disappointed because he didn't think he'd see Linda again, because there was no reason to come and get a Nancy Drew book that day. So he tried to sell me the Bobbsey twins. And I said, no, this isn't it. This isn't it.
How old? Yeah.
And I was like 10. And so I think of like Hannah's book and our guest's book. And when I finished, I felt like, okay, I could read one of these a day now. So that was like, it was so wonderful. Just that feeling of like wanting more, where it's just such comfort food for reading.
Well, cool. Well, okay. So we're so excited about our guest because my amazing challenge this week is fairly large, and it's all her fault. I am writing a book. It may never see the light of day, but I have a man that has coached me and says everybody should write a book, whether it gets out there or not. And so I'm writing my book, and it's called "Crap, I Have a Tumor." So, and it's an old story, but so I was speaking with our guest and talking about how to get a book out there and what it's going to take. And she said to me, well, for your type of book, it would be about 40,000 words. And she said, how many do you have written? I was like, 4,000. She's like, you better get cracking. So I have a September 1st deadline. And so I sat down and I wrote 1,034 words. Whoa. And I timed myself, and I did it in 45 minutes.
Really?
Which was really actually unfortunate, because then I set this stupid precedent for myself. And then today I was having an ADD day, and so I got 1,100 words done, but I couldn't tell you how long it took for that to happen, because it was fragmented at best, but yet
you got it done.
Good juicy nuggets. So
wow.
So we're not going to keep you waiting any longer, because we just love our guest. I have known Hannah Dennison now for, I think, 13 years. About that, maybe less, but I think about 13 years. She is an extraordinary human being. Her voice is like a lullaby.
Yes.
I'm so excited that you get to hear her voice and not my obnoxious loud self. So it's a very nice balance. And her books are amazing. So we're going to let Hannah tell you all about them. And welcome to the show, Hannah Dennison.
Yay!
Look, you have a studio audience.
Thank you very, very much. And thank you for having me here, really. It was really, really nice. That was a very nice introduction. So I have a lot to live up to.
Oh,
You already lived up to it.
You've lived up to it already. We're delighted you're here.
I have to say, Joanne, that's a very good record, doing that, the 1,000 words a day. Because if I could do 1,000 words a day, I'd be really happy, because I find it very hard to write, actually. But that's a whole other story.
Well, but that's also because you're writing in a different genre. I'm writing about myself, so you'd think I could write 5,000 words a day. But no, you're writing in a different way. So there's so much we want to ask you. And the first thing, let's just talk about Vicky Hill. Let's just talk about Vicky Hill right away, and then we'll backtrack to how you got to Vicky Hill, and we're living in Portland and Los Angeles, and
Okay.
I know
All
lots.
Right, lots. Well, Vicky Hill, gosh, she came from my own experience, and I think that's something that every writer taps into is every single character in my book is a part of me. But Vicky Hill specifically so because she's a young obituary writer. She writes these newspaper columns, but they're just for reporting funerals. So they're set in Devon, and she's desperate for fame and fortune. She wants to be an investigative reporter, but she's stuck, as I say, writing these funerals. And the reason that this came about was because I used to do that. It was one of my very first jobs. That was after 5 days in the Royal Navy. I don't know if I ever told you.
Oh, Royal Navy is good.
I didn't last very long because we didn't go to sea because it was a really long time ago, and I wanted adventure and all that. But anyway, so I ended up working on this really small newspaper in Devon, where it's once a week it comes out, and I did the funerals every day. I went to about 2 or 3 a day. I don't know why that happens in Devon. It could be the air, could be the farmyard smells. I'm not sure, but I go.
They just keel over.
Yeah,
they just take a whiff. They wake up one day and they're lying in the street.
I'd have to stand at the church door with my little notepad because this is a long time ago, well before cell phones. Clearly, it was in the 70s actually. So anyway, a long time ago, and I would take the names down of all the mourners. I had to pay particular attention to spelling, and then go back to the house, and I'd have sherry and fruitcake and tea, and it was just incredibly boring. So I go home for lunch, and my mum would say, so how was the funeral today? And I'd say it was great, or it wasn't great, or I've got 2 more tomorrow. And so that sort of most boring job that I'd ever had became the basis for my Vicky Hill mysteries. And so in a way, I sort of actually managed to live out my dream of becoming an investigative reporter because Vicky does it, and she's much better than me.
Well, don't you think this is the thing? One of the things about our show is that we celebrate everyday superstars, and everyone has a superstar story in them, whether they think so or not.
True.
So you could think that you have the most boring life, but what your approach to it is what makes it amazing. So look, you've created something spectacular that everybody gets to win because we get to read about Vicky Hill, and she's just darling.
She is.
Yeah.
She's plucky.
She has a lot of pluck.
She
Vicky does.
And you do too.
It's funny, I don't see myself like that. But after I talked about and thought about it, I think there's a part of her that I really wish I could be more like, I think. I mean, there's certain things of her character and personality. For a start, she's her parents are criminals, for a start, which mine obviously aren't. Or if they are, they haven't told me that.
Yet to be revealed.
So Vicky Hill's dad is wanted for armed robbery. He's a silver thief. He's on the run. His name is The Fog because he comes down very quickly, steals things, and disappears. It's comedy, by the way, I write, just in case you wondered. And then Vicky has her own issues, and one of them is that she's still pure as the driven snow.
Yes.
She's never had sex.
Yes.
And that was me. At age 19, I was a late starter.
But did you have those attempts? Like she has attempts at boyfriends.
Oh, I had them all the time. So all the boyfriends are people I know in that book.
Oh,
trust me. I just
really?
changed the names.
Really?
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yay.
Okay.
So yeah, now she's worried. Now
Yeah.
she's thinking, oh, so who is that one?
Yeah.
So it was quite fun because obviously when you're growing up, you're going through all that teenage angst and stuff like that, and I had the most enormous crushes on boys because I wasn't really interested in boys. I was interested in horses. I was much more of a tomboy. So I think in that respect, I realize now when I look through my old diaries, I have diaries of when I was like 16. And one particular one, I had this crush on this boy called Ian Murray, his name was. I'm sure he's not listening in.
Well, we're going to look up Ian Murray.
Yes,
would it be Murray to me?
Scotland.
Is that what his name? If I were to read it, would it be Murray?
No, I don't know, maybe it's
Murrie.
Murrie.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Anyway, so I write my diary every day, and not knowing that was all going to come in useful later. And I saw Ian Murray 16 times today. Now, in today's world, you'd be a stalker, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It would be on Facebook. You'd be sort of blocked.
But it
in
was
those days,
darling.
it was sweet. Every
It was
time
sweet.
he turned around, I was hi.
Did you
we
write?
never went out.
Did you write your name, Hannah Murray?
Of course, in a big heart.
Yes, yes. But you know what? I love that you talked about your journals when you were 16 because that's something that I was talking to with a friend, and I was going through something at one time, and she said, write down right now in this language because when you look back in 10 years, it's not going to be the same language of how you express yourself.
Oh, that's totally. Yeah. Oh no,
Oh.
it's true. I mean, a lot of mine's like fab.
Yes.
There's a lot of words like fab.
And
you
just
know,
the emotion
scrums.
and the emotions, and especially from 16 to when you're in. Now you have a daughter, so it's like it's so different. But I love that you probably use that a lot for Vicky Hill.
Yeah, I do. And the other interesting thing is, like, fast forward to decades, is that I stopped writing a journal, and I'm talking like a page a day of. I mean, it was detailed. There was one year I wrote in shorthand, so I don't know what happened that year. I think it was kind of an interesting.
Did you go
year.
to secretarial school?
I did.
I did too.
I love shorthand.
I did
too.
not. My parents wanted me to, and I did not do it.
I loved my shorthand teacher.
Yeah, no, it's great.
She was great.
But I was told when I got to, I was sort of 45 when I started really writing seriously. I thought, right, I'm going to give it my best shot. I'm determined I'm going to get published by the time.
So you didn't start till you were 45.
Well, I started really in maybe around 30, 35, but I was playing at it. I wasn't serious.
Well, when we talked, you said that you really, two things really struck me, or a few things, almost everything. But one thing that really struck me was when you said in 1993 you wrote a note to yourself.
Oh, I did. Yes. That's
Oh, yeah.
true.
Tell us about the note.
Is it the one?
Which note?
Which note was it? Was it the one that by the time I was 50?
Yes.
Yeah. I know, and 50 comes. Oh my God! And thank God I'm not on the last box yet. When you do a questionnaire and stuff.
Oh, right.
And it says, "Are you between these
Dead.
ages?"
Or
I'm
dead.
hanging on in there now. So yeah, no, I was.
You're at
just
the low end
determined.
of the next box
Yeah,
category.
I am at the low end.
I'm at the high end
But
of it.
Hannah, don't worry. I'm convinced that 90 is the new 60.
It is.
Well,
I'm
isn't
very
it
excited.
depressing when you have to scroll down and pick your year that you were born, right?
Yeah.
And I
Oh.
remember when 1965 was kind of close to the top, and
Oh,
now I'm
yeah.
like, what? Oh my God! I can't even find it.
You keep scrolling.
Scrolling and scrolling.
you wrote
but
this,
I digress.
So
Go
you
ahead.
wrote this note.
I wrote this note, and I thought by the time I'm 50, I
wrote-
want to have been
you wrote
published.
this.
I wrote this. I had to write everything down because I really, really believe if anyone has any intentions to do anything really special, is they have to commit it to paper. And I'm sure that you echo
Oh,
that.
you and I have talked
There's-
about
There's
that.
a magic that goes into it when you write something on in paper, and even if you put it in a little box. And I do that all the time. Like if ever I've been moving house, I've always written down exactly what I wanted. Whether it was hardwood floors or to see the water or something. And I've always got it. It's really, really quite magical, actually.
So when you wrote this, you said by the time you're 50,
I had to
you
be 50.
you want to be
yeah.
published.
I want to be published. And then my first book, the Vicky Hill exclusive, which was the first of the 4 that I have out on that series at the moment, was published on March the 3rd, just before my birthday, which was April 2nd, in case anyone's interested and wants to write it down. for the
April
future.
2nd, gift cards.
Yes,
gift cards.
So that was, I was like
So you
3
made-
weeks
you
into
made
it,
your
yeah.
you made your
I made my
deadline.
deadline. Yeah, it was a really big thing, actually. Yeah, it was good.
That's
yeah.
exciting.
Wow.
Yeah, but it hasn't been quite how I expected. But
But it never is it? And are
Yeah.
you happy with how it's been?
now I've got more of a perspective on it. I think I had I don't know. I thought I'd give up my day job. I mean,
Right.
I haven't, but
you haven't.
I think I'm 2 years away from that now. And someone once said, 10 years of being published, as long as you're producing, obviously.
Right.
Sure.
not just- So, and I think that 10 years is coming, and then I'll be able to transition into full-time writing.
So it will be 10 years that you're published.
Because I built up a backlist.
Okay.
That's the magic, is that you want to keep all your books in print because they sort of, they're like an avalanche
Right.
type of effect.
Well, because I'll know after I've read Thieves, I'll read the first one. I'll go back.
Oh, good. Oh, great. Yeah.
So talking about like when you said that it wasn't quite as you had perceived it to be, and yet now you have this perspective. It seems like now you seem to like know that like in 2 years you're going to be
yeah.
working full time as a
Okay.
writer. But one thing that you did stress was that you said one piece of advice you give people is don't give up what?
Don't give up a day job, whatever you do. It's just my dad used to say that to me the whole time, and I have to backtrack a bit because I did give up my day job. I moved from a little tiny little village called Chaley Green to Los Angeles to follow, my dream of being a screenwriter. That's how it all began, really. And so after about 3 years working for studios and things, I thought, right, I'm going to write the most amazing script, and I'm going to get millions of dollars
Of
for
course.
it because everybody does. And so I did. I gave up my job, and I tried for about 2 or 3 years, and it was really, really a challenge, and that's putting it mildly. Actually.
And you had a daughter.
I was a single mother at
Single
the time.
mother.
Mm-hmm. She was like, I think she was maybe 12. So it was quite a
Wow.
it was quite a challenge actually. And so
So you gave up your day job, but then how did you afford to do that? Was it through savings that you just were, or?
Sorry, what was that word?
Oh,
Saving? I don't know understand what that word is. No, it was by that
Kindred
really,
spirit.
Yeah, it was that really, really nice guy, Mr. MasterCard and Mr. Visa.
Oh.
Yeah. They don't, and then they turn on you.
And then they turn on you.
Yeah,
They
and
break
it's
up
all
with you.
over.
And they charge you to be broken up
I
with.
know,
Yeah,
what
they
was
charge
that?
you exorbitantly.
Anyway, I learned my lesson. That was so I had to claw my way back out of that situation. It was a kind of, the funny thing is that I don't regret it now because I'm a lot more. I guess I'm a bit more wise about it. Yeah,
And more
now.
respectful.
Yeah, very much so. I never want to go down that road again. Really. Yeah.
But you were raising your daughter, and it's like a friend of mine said that her daughter was raised on credit cards
Yeah.
because she was a single mother at the time, and it was just the way it was. And
Well, I
now
also
it's
wanted
changed.
to give my daughter everything she wanted. You kind of compensate a little bit, really.
Yeah.
And I know that I had this new Jeep. It was like leased, which of course is another thing which I hadn't done in England because it wasn't. People don't really lease things in England like that. They would just buy it. So, but I got this brand new Jeep Cherokee. And I gave it to my daughter to drive to school. She was 16 at the time, and she wanted to look cool. And I got this old beaten up Jetta that was just like with no air conditioning. It kept breaking down.
But you're a good mom.
Yeah. I hope so. I like to think I am.
Oh,
But this-
absolutely.
this was-
She's the
oh,
fact
yeah.
that she lives in a different country.
Well,
Yeah,
she
I
lives
hope
in
it's
England.
not personal.
She lives
Yes,
in
she
England, right?
does,
She went
yeah.
back to your home.
She went back home. I see her a lot. She's actually coming out here in a couple of
Really?
weeks.
And you did say one thing that you said that you are very close to your family.
Yes.
Which is, I love that because Vicky she is an orphan in that she has decided not to go in the
She's
the
not going to
path of-
follow the family
yes.
firm.
She's not going to be a criminal. So she is an orphan. And one of the things that we were talking about was how it really is about sense of belonging, how she wants to
Yes.
belong in a small town, and people in small towns want to belong, and it is their little microcosm. And it was, I love that. And I think one of the reasons you made that belonging is because you do feel that sense of belonging with your family.
I think that's true. And I also think that it doesn't, we all want to belong, don't we? We want
Yes.
to fit in somehow,
Oh, yeah.
I think. And I did explore that a lot with Vicky because even though I had a very tight-knit family, I never was the person who hung out with the kind of cool people. I was always like the weird one who had the funny friends, you know what I mean? But then maybe everyone thinks that.
I
I don't know,
think
do
that's-
we? Unless you're like the
I
crowd.
had all
I don't
different
know.
friends, and it's interesting because for me, my grade school, I got along with everyone. But when I came home to my neighborhood, I had friends, and then there was like the kids that would be mean and they'd run away from you, and one kid had a fort and you weren't invited, you weren't in the secret club, and so I experienced that in my neighborhood, but I didn't really experience that in school. I loved my classmates, and I love my neighborhood that I grew up in. No, don't get me wrong, but that's really where I experienced more of the divide. But what do you know?
Interesting.
So I don't want to. I do want to make sure we talk not just about Vicky Hill, but the new one.
Yes.
Okay.
But before we
Oh,
go
yeah,
on
yeah,
to
go ahead.
murder at Honeycomb.
Honey Church.
Honey
I have to
Church.
tell you about Honey
So-
Church in a second.
Okay, so
Just a little-
is this Murder at Honey Church and Vicky Hill, are they all what you consider what we learned the term cozy mysteries?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
they both are. Okay, the series and Murder at. So explain what because I happened to tweet. I said, "What's a cozy mystery? Is it how to figure out how to fit into a snuggie?"
Oh yes, I know. It was really funny.
yeah,
actually.
so I was wanting to because I never heard that before. I'm like, what's a cozy mystery? So would you explain that?
Now, cozy mystery is something I hadn't actually heard about until I started writing, because I wrote this, comedy kind of thing. And my instructor, because I did go to classes, I took UCLA classes at Writers Extension.
And
for
that's where you
5
teach now.
years, and I do teach there now. It's true. And she said, "Oh, you've written a cozy," and I thought, "Oh, I don't even know what that is," because in England we don't have them. They're kind of not really very popular there. They like sort of black, dark, edgy stuff. But it's getting better now, of course. I mean, the English have no sense of, you know what we're like. It's the weather. and all
Well,
that
yeah,
kind of
but
stuff.
but I'm a Monty Python fan, so
So-
someone's got a
Yes.
sense of humor
Yes,
there.
well, so anyway, so cozy it came about through an Agatha Christie kind of sort of, well, what it is, it's like in a small town. It's a small community where everybody knows everybody else. So you haven't got like the serial killer coming in, with the axe or with a Kalishnikov. Can I say that correctly? And blowing everyone away. It's the crimes always occur between people that know each other. It's like your
Sort of like the
backyard
game
and crimes.
Clue.
It is like
Yeah,
the game
like the
Clue.
game Clue. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, I remember
So
that.
you have that. You have those parameters. You have a parameter that there's no graphic violence on the page. You can, imply that someone was mown down by cows or something. But and you can't have any bad language. So there's none of that. I did get away with putting bollocks once, though. I was terribly excited about that because my
even know what
editor.
that is.
Anyway,
Okay, don't tell me.
No, it's not. It's just it's just an English
And
little
no,
funny thing.
And no sex.
No sex,
Yeah.
which of course was
Perfect
true.
for Vicky.
No sex, and I quite like it because the thing about cozy mysteries is that they're always at the end. You're going to solve the mystery. There is always justice is always done. The killer is always punished, and I think that's what's so gratifying being a writer is that in real life that just doesn't happen, and so I get the chance to do that, to put the world to right afterwards. Yeah, so that's kind of nice to do that.
And before we talk about the next series, because I know that's you're very charged and excited about that. How difficult was it for you to get a literary agent? Was that a challenge?
Well, I honestly was really lucky, and because I went to UCLA, that part of one of the classes I took a master class, which was like I think it was a full year of evening classes, because of course I'm still working and all that. And we were automatically referred to an agent, and the agent read and decided whether or not, they would sign you up. And so I kind of skipped the slush pile section. I didn't have to write in a query letter. I just got that introduction.
And,
so I was
and
really
that's
lucky.
who you've stayed with? Or
I haven't actually. I did change about 3 or 4 years ago. So I have a new agent now. And oddly enough, my old agent now lives in Portland. And
What do you know?
and we're friends, and we have lunch. It's really
That's
nice.
where you live now.
Yeah, but it was odd because when I was in LA, I never saw her, and she was.
no
only
one
in
sees anybody
Silver.
in Los
I know,
Angeles.
unless there's a flood, right?
Yeah.
We Skype our neighbors. you know?
Yeah, exactly. So I was very lucky with that. But when it came to actually getting published, though, that was a whole other story, and I have to share it because
Please
you
do.
have to. If you're writers out there, you just have to just keep going. You just have to just keep going, really, keep swimming. Because what happened was that I had written a very different plot in my first book that was not a cozy mystery. And it had actually involved an incident that happened to me when I was a roving reporter in Tiverton, because that's a little place in Devon, which is where I've made it a fictional town, but that was where it really happened, where I was able to found some black magic people on the moors. And I thought, I'd infiltrate their coven. I don't know, it was just crazy. I mean, I was 19.
Wow.
I was really young, and of course I was pure.
Yeah.
So they were very
Wow.
interested in me.
This
and
is
so
going to get good.
so what I did was, as it happened, I managed to escape with my inner sheet running down the road. And so, because they found out that I was actually a reporter. And you have to, listen, we're talking about a little town in Devon here, where everything is so important,
Well, and in the sacred circle of a coven.
In the sacred circle of a coven.
Little
And
did you know. That's
little
a
did-
bad thing to do.
It was a very stupid thing to do. And so I put that part as the core story to my first book. And so when it, went out, and I got a couple of rejections, as one does with, when you send it out to publishers, the only person that was really interested was Berkeley Prime Crime, and which is great. It's a subsidiary of Penguin, and in the imprint of Penguin. And she said, her name was Natalie. She's wonderful. She was an editor of mine for a long time. And she said, right, well, I'm afraid you've got to get rid of that plot. It just doesn't work.
Oh my God.
So you
like
want to
the book,
take
but get
the
rid of the
plot
plot.
out. She said, I really, really like the characters, but you want to get rid of the plot. She said, you've written it in the 70s, because that was an important time for me, only because there was no electronic stuff. So it was really hard.
Right.
You couldn't just pick up the cell phone,
Right.
which if you notice on TV now, everyone just, there's no difficulties or challenges.
Right.
And so I didn't want any computers.
Many times they pick up the cell phone on the camera and they forget that they actually have to dial. And
Oh
they
yeah,
just,
yeah, that's true. I never noticed that.
Okay.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I had that, and then she said, and you've written it in the third person, because you write in different voices, like different points of view. And she said, I want you to write it in the first person, which is basically connecting with Vicky. I do this, I do that. And then she said, and then make it a series. So come back with 3 other ideas, backdrops, because each of my books have a very quirky backdrop, British hobbies like snail racing, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
Hedge trimming.
Yeah, hedge trimming, exactly, which will happen. It's very exciting. Anyway, so she said, you've got 6 months, go away. But she wasn't giving me a contract. She said, and then we'll see. So I went home, I cried, I ate chocolate, and I thought, right, okay, pull my sleeves up, and it was like deboning a fish. I just picked up the plot, and I took all the dangly bits underneath, and then I had to kind of weave in a new story completely.
Wow.
It was really hard, actually. So that's how I got published, because after that, I built momentum.
So you talk about luck, but that's a lot of work.
That
was
was a lot of work. I mean,
That's
a lot of
a lot
people
of
would
work.
have just said, you know what, I don't want to do it. But I had to try.
You met the opportunity with hard work,
Yes,
and
it's
that's
true.
really what luck
Yeah.
is.
Well, and so we of course think that Vicky Hill should be a series.
Yes.
And if it was a series,
Oh yes.
who would you cast as Vicky Hill?
Oh, I did have the person, and oh God, I had it written down as well. It's someone like Zoe from House of Cards, except she's American. Did you ever see House of Cards?
Yes.
You know the little reporter.
Yes, and I can't think of her name. I love
But
that.
her
I
name
won't
was
tell you what
Zoe,
happened to
but
her.
it was Mara, one of the Mara sisters.
Yeah. I'm very, very bad at remembering
Yeah.
that, but I know exactly who you would.
Kate Mara, is it? I don't know.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
Anyway,
that right?
I
Yeah.
want someone with pluck.
Can you Google
Mhm.
that on your thing?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That's okay.
I
Okay.
think
We'll look
would
it
be
up.
I think it would be fun. Because I'm just finishing up a 5th in that series right
You
now.
are finishing up the
Yeah,
fifth,
it's got to be done in 2 weeks actually.
And you're spending time with us, so we feel
Yeah.
very,
Thank
very
you.
grateful.
Yes.
So, but we want to make sure that we start about the new series.
Yes.
So, well, luckily, because I told you that you build up some momentum and you build relationships, just like Hollywood. It's all about
Sure.
networking, who you know. And I on a convention, because there's a lot of writing conventions that are around. If anyone is interested in writing, they're great to go to. And one is Malice Domestic, which is the Agatha Christie. There's a one where you win a teapot.
Oh, you win a
Very
teapot.
nice teapot.
Okay.
Malice Domestic.
Malice Domestic is one big one.
Can you go there just to win the teapot, or do you have to be a writer?
You can be a fan, but you won't win the teapot. Oh, there is a teapot for
Oh.
fans, actually.
just go.
funnily
Okay.
enough.
Oh, yeah.
It's really fun. Really great conference. So now I've totally forgotten what I was saying. It's just gone.
About
See, I have to
about,
catch it.
about conventions.
but
you were
what was that
talking.
No, you're talking about
before?
writers, and if writers go,
Yes,
to
you're.
make-
Yeah.
You were
yeah,
going to give
totally
like
blank.
some a bit of
Yeah, it's gone.
about church.
well, that's okay. You building momentum. So let's
Oh,
go right
yes.
into. There
Honey-
you go.
honey-
Come to me.
church.
I'm sorry.
No, that's
Honey
okay.
church.
See, because I'm the end, almost the end
Yes.
box now on the
Yes.
questionnaire. See, that's what happens when you get to that end of the writing thing. So anyway, at one of these conventions, I met an editor and we had coffee together. And she said, "Do you have any ideas for a book?" And I thought, do I? Yes, I do. And I came up with this thing where it's like an amateur mother-daughter sleuth, because my own mother had moved actually about 10 years ago to a very, very impractical wing of a country house. She was 75 at the time. So instead of like downsizing and going to live in a beautiful little bungalow or a cottage by the sea, she decided she would do something she always wanted to do, which was to be a lady of the manor. So I know. So she took all my dad's money. That's another story. And anyway, but
Is
the
your mom
thing was-
listening?
Oh, she'll lie about it. But no, I love my mom. She knows I'm teasing. Anyway, so I thought it was an interesting thing I remember how shocked I was when I found out that my mom had done this. And she'd moved herself. She hadn't told any of us. And so I thought that would be interesting how a woman, maybe the daughter's like 40, so she's obviously younger than me. And she just goes to find out and make her mother see sense. But when she goes there, she discovers that she actually likes this beautiful estate. It's an old country house. And it's like an upstairs, downstairs cross with Midsummer Murders, Gosford Park, but it's contemporary. And so I sort of set a few murders in that little environment there, and that was good. But I also wanted my main character, Kat Stanford, who is the in fact, I must, because I forget these things, is that Iris, the mother, she also has a secret, which is not the type of secret my mother has, is that the reason in the book why she can afford this house is the fact that she's been writing steamy romance novels
Oh, I love
all through Kat's life.
Oh, I love that.
And so instead of saying I'm going down to lie down with a a migraine or something,
I love
she was
that.
hammering out, it's all about sensual lips, tapered thighs. It was like the steamy bodice ripper types. So I have that kind of that was kind of fun to do. And so, but my heroine Kat is actually an antique dealer. So I kind of like to include some of that. She's actually a retired celebrity host. She didn't like being in the public eye the whole time, and so she's retired from TV life, and she's going to build.
Oh, so you could have future characters that might recognize her.
Well, they do.
Oh, I can't
That's
wait.
it.
Yeah.
Because she's also having a relationship with one of the paparazzi types, estranged husband. I mean, they are, she's not having an affair, but
Right.
being separated. So there's that.
So if you were going to cast, who would you
I
cast?
definitely know who I want for her.
Oh.
It's
Okay.
Tamsin Greek
Okay.
from Episodes.
Who is it?
Did you see Episodes?
No,
the
what-
HBO.
what's the name of the
How do
actress?
you pronounce it? Is it Grieg? That's another one. Tamsin.
Tamsin.
And she was
okay.
in Green Wing. She's a British actress, but she does some really great stuff over here. I really like her. She'd be perfect.
And who would be good for Iris?
Iris, I thought would be either like wait, I've got to think. I did have someone in mind. Someone like Alison Steadman.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
someone like that. Kind of
Fun.
risky. Yeah.
So talking about your mother, where was she where is she a docent at? Because we're gonna have to.
yes.
Oh,
we have to
oh
do
yeah,
that.
look what
Yes,
time it is.
yes,
Yeah,
we're
because
gonna
we have a
have
good
to-
question
yeah,
coming
we
up.
have
We
a
have to
really
do our
good
little call in.
question,
So
yeah.
Yes. So should I say where she is or wait till you do the question? Oh,
let's
she's.
see.
I'll tell you what. She's actually. I'll just say one thing.
Yes.
I'll just say one thing. So my mom, who's now 84, very, very, very feisty. My mom. She actually works as a docent for the National Trust, and the National Trust have these
Wow.
beautiful country homes, and she works in Devon, in Agatha Christie's summer home, and I'm not going to tell you what the name of it is because
That's going to be one of our questions.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, yay. So then the series that you have now is called Murder at Honeychurch Hall.
yes,
Murder at Honeychurch Hall. Okay. Can you throw a picture of that book up there? Oh, yay, it's up there. Okay, so Murder at Honeychurch Hall. So this is time. We're just having so much fun that we're getting a little behind, and it's time for our caller to call in. So, can you do me that wonderful favor of holding up the mouse pad because I never know the number? Okay.
Oh, there it
So grab a pen and write down this number 323-843-2826. That's 323-843-2826, and we're gonna have our number. And you're gonna get. We have one giveaway tonight, and you're going to get a copy of Hannah's very first book of this series called Murder at Honeychurch Hall. So you can see it up
Brand
there.
new.
It's very brand new. It's a
Brand new
hardback.
May. It came out.
It came out in May,
Very
and so the summer's not over. And I say put this at the top of your reading list. We've had really great authors on. So Hannah, what would the question be? The caller has to call in and get it right, and we know that they're at their computers, so they're gonna whoever Googles fast
yes,
enough
it's gonna be a
wins.
Google one, I
It
think.
might be an Agatha Christie.
We'll
fan.
see.
Yes,
so
and then it should be easy.
yes.
So there's a little house in Devon that was Agatha Christie's favorite summer home, where she didn't actually write most of her books. She used to just be with her family there. But it's just an amazing place, and it's as if she actually she just walked away and went for a walk because everything is how it was when she lived there in the 70s, actually. So,
Wow.
Yeah, so I want to know, do I ask the question,
So,
what
yeah.
the name of this house is?
Okay, so
very
what's the
famous.
name of the house?
The
that,
summer house that Agatha Christie, in fact, her son still, well, they gave it to the National Trust, but it was only in the year 2000 and something, I think, they actually gifted the house to the National Trust. Yeah.
Wow. Okay,
In the
so we're
South
going to wait and
Hams.
see who wants to call in for that. And while we're waiting for someone to call in,
Yes.
you want to ask the other question?
Yes, our question that we ask every guest is that if you walked into a room, every time you walked into a room, a theme song played, what would that be?
I'll only tell you if Joanne will sing.
Oh, great. Yay. Okay, well, I'll sing a
Sing
little bit of it if I
Sing
know
a
it.
tiny bit for me.
I do.
Okay.
Okay, it's Top of the World, Karen Carpenter. Take it away.
Oh,
wow.
I'm on the top of the world looking
down on creation, and the only explanation I can find is the love that I found ever since you've been around. Your love's put me at the top of the world.
Yes. Thank you. See, that's why it's my song.
Wonderful. Well, I love that. I love all things Karen Carpenter, so I'm a big Karen fan. So we're waiting for someone to call in. Do we have people in the chat room tonight? Yay. Okay. So that's good news. I always, every time I talk to you, I find out something completely new and random and wonderful. And we always forget to ask our guests this, but you know what I'm going to ask.
Yes.
If there was something that people would be shocked to know about you that you'd be willing to share, like what might people be like, really?
Oh, well, where do I begin?
I know. I know
things.
you have so many. You have good, juicy stuff, Hannah.
Well, I think, I mentioned about the celebrity for the murder at Honeychurch Hall,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. So I have to say, when you say shocked, I won this contest when I was 16. It was a big year, 16, what with my diary and Ian Murray. I saw 16 times that day.
Ian Murray. I'm going to look him up on
you
Facebook. I'm writing
should.
his name
Yeah,
down right
write
now.
down.
Maybe he's single.
Actually,
Look
what,
out, Ian. Here I come.
Probably is, actually. So anyway, I was very naive. Obviously, I was 16. I was Miss Basingstoke, 1974. It sounds so bad. And so I was representing, the town, and I won a holiday, and I went to Mallorca because it was very, very. It was just up and coming at that time before all the. I think it's actually come around a bit, but there was a time when it was pretty rough. And unfortunately, I wasn't really very good with like drinking and things because I was very young, and I'd had too much sangria. And
At 16.
At 16, and so I had to be escorted out of the nightclub. But the newspaper, because I was being followed, right? Because I was famous, because I was Miss Basingstoke.
Miss, what is it?
Miss Basingstoke.
Miss
Basingstoke. Yeah, I
Oh,
know.
wow. Is that like a town?
Yeah, it's a town, but we don't normally talk
Basingstoke.
about it. Yeah. Anyway, so the headline.
You were the only girl that lived in the town. That's why you won, right?
The headline in the newspaper when I got back said "Town Shamed." And there was a picture of me on the front.
Because you got a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you had too much
But
sangria.
you didn't know.
Too much sangria. I know.
Oh.
Town shamed. So that was shocking. Basingstoke. It's actually
got
close
shamed.
to
That's great.
Basingstoke shamed.
Town shamed.
Town shamed.
Town shamed.
shamed.
You shamed the whole
Yeah.
town.
So you imagine what my mother said when I got there.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
What did your
I
mother
know.
say?
She just, I can't really talk about it. I haven't got over it actually.
All right, well, we're going to go to our office afterwards, which is called Denny's, and you're going to tell us all the
I'll tell
dish
you
there.
everything, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. That's a good one.
That is
That's
good.
a really good one.
You wouldn't think it.
So
Sweet.
No.
before we go further, I really talking about that. I wanted to just have you talk about something that when you shared yesterday when we did little conference call. You said that that you didn't realize that as a child and younger, as a teenager, that you were a really good storyteller, and that people would say, "Oh, you're just exaggerating."
Yeah, that's
but
so
you didn't
true.
realize
that.
that you were and you wish that you knew that now.
Oh God, I mean, I often get asked, "You must have always wanted to be a writer." People always say that to me. And when did you start wanting to write? And truthfully, I didn't. It was just something that came as over time. But when I was looking back, I realized that was exactly what we were talking about yesterday. Was that when I was small, when I was 6 or 7 and everything, and my mom would ask me things, and then she would call me, a liar because it wasn't the truth, but it was my truth because I embellished the stories because I thought it sounded much more interesting.
Of course. I love a good
And
story.
so it wasn't like I was being mean-spirited or anything like that, but I just thought that my version was much better. And so it was, again, you're always exaggerating. And then throughout my teenage years, it's like, don't take any notice of her because, there really isn't a serial killer living in Basingstoke. In fact, probably there are now, actually. But and so it was only when I obviously got to I think it was in my 20s, I realized that I was a storyteller, which meant then it translated into being a writer. Because my dad was a great storyteller. He would tell us stories at night. And he wouldn't read to us, but he would make up wonderful stories. And so I think that I got that from him.
I love that when you said that, because that's like so often we don't see ourselves in a certain perspective, and then when we do, it's an aha moment.
Yeah, it was an, and but I'm just only just growing into accepting that though. That's what's so curious. As you get older, you actually use that, I think, to when as I say about the next box is coming quickly on that questionnaire, and I have so many things I need to do before I get there.
Is that kind of what you meant? But when you said you saw Boyhood and you love that?
It's such a great movie.
The milestone.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I can't wait to see this movie this week.
Amazing.
And you said like the milestones has really hit you.
Yeah, that's
how
exactly
many milestones
it.
we go through, and
that's exactly it. And but I think it's actually a gift, funnily enough, because instead of it being like, oh my god, it's almost like, right, okay, I've got. It gives you some momentum and some motivation to really follow your passion and follow your dream.
It does. It does. I agree.
Is there something else besides writing that you would have seen yourself do besides the other jobs? Was there something that when you were 16 that actually was your passion? Horses, I know.
Horses, I think too. And I really enjoyed being a flight attendant. I know that my dad would
you
go,
were a flight attendant?
I was. I did it for a long time. And my because I loved adventure. I met all these people, and I just, it was everywhere I could make stories up. That's the thing. Where every day was different. It was always exciting because it was a little bit different then. It was not quite the Pan Am time from that TV show.
Right.
But, and I worked on private jets as well, so that was really fun. But my dad was like, "Oh, you're just a trolley dolly." He used to call me. Trolley dolly. I go, "Coffee, tea, or me?" But it was fun. I had a great time. It was great, and so I'm sure I'll write something around that.
Oh, you
some of
have
my
to. That'll be
adventures
good.
on that. Yeah. So it's been a colorful time.
So how is it now that now you have a daughter and you're married, and you said you're married to a writer?
I am.
How is that? Married to a writer, and how's that for
and
your
he's
husband?
really cute.
He is. He's so patient. It's very hard being with a writer actually, because you have to be extremely patient, and either it's very hard for me to be present in our, just be present really, because I'm always thinking about what I should be writing, or if I'm on a deadline, I'm anxious about it. And so fortunately he understands, because that's how he is too. So it's really great, because it's, as I say, it's hard. My mum had a friend who used to write for Doctor Who, if you know the Doctor.
Sure.
But I'm going back to the 60s, and because my mum's friend got divorced because she said she couldn't stand the tension anymore, because she wasn't a writer, but the screenwriter, the teleplay, whatever, he was only happy on Sunday once they'd shot the show on Saturday. So all from Sunday to Friday, he was like anxious because he couldn't write. He had writer's block. He didn't know what to do. He was miserable. And then Friday would come and he would write all day and get it out. And then Saturday he was just a little bit relaxed, and then the whole thing. Wow.
Start over again. That's a terrible pattern.
I wouldn't want to do that. I'm trying to get
You write
better.
every morning, right?
I have to write every morning.
And you get up like at 4 a.m.
I get up at 4:30. Yeah, I have to allow myself a half hour, extra lie-in. I have to write before work. Yeah, it's now a habit though. I don't even think twice about it.
And when
now.
you're writing, before work, is it an hour, 2 hours of writing?
At the moment, I try to do 2. It's usually 2 to 3 during the week, and then Saturdays and Sundays about maybe 4 or 5.
And is it when you're writing? I know we only have a few more minutes. I mean, are you literally just writing, or are you plotting and figuring and thinking and writing? Is there some times where you don't you get a lot done, but not necessarily a lot of words written?
You mean like research?
Yeah, I think so. And one thing I have noticed, and this might be what you were saying at the very beginning. You said you had a really good day and you wrote all those words.
Mm-hmm.
I know that if I have a fabulous day, the next day will be absolutely dreadful.
I learned.
I have no idea why that happens. Yeah. It's so. But now I've understood that. So instead of beating myself up, I think, oh, okay, yeah, it's going to be one of those days.
Well, I have a question, because when you said that yesterday, you said, well, you're not necessarily present because you're thinking of your story, and I kind of got this. I remember Alice. Can't think of her name, but I remember one Alice Hoffman.
Oh,
okay.
I love her
yeah.
work.
Alice Hoffman would
yeah.
say that after each book was written, because she didn't do series, after each book was written, she'd really mourn for those characters.
Yeah, sure.
She grieved. So maybe a part of it is you just want to be with those characters because they're so much a part of your life because they're in your head.
I think that's true, and I know that when I writing 2 series has been quite a challenge because my characters are so different, you know. So I spent like a couple of years on Honeychurch Hall, and then I went back to Vicky Hill, and I was so excited because I was with all my friends again.
Yes.
Oh, what
Yeah,
fun. I love that. Well, we're getting very close to the end of the show. I want to know, do you have something coming up that if people wanted to come meet you, are you doing any book signings, anything?
Or any classes at UCLA?
Any classes? Oh, right, you teach at UCLA.
I do teach at UCLA, actually. There's probably... I probably do something in the winter time because they plots, you know, plan ahead. And I do a Saturday class. And for anyone who's an aspiring mystery writer, I've had some fiction writers too. I just do the basics of how to write a basic novel. So, you know, you get the characters, the setting, all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Point of view, and tons of handouts. It's worth it. And it's about a 6-hour day. It's quite intense, and you have to bring snacks because the canteens are never open. It's very sad. So let's get our priority. Oh, I say canteen. Cats.
Priorities.
Machines. Yeah. So I think that's because I've just come off about a 2-month tour where I was over most of the country.
And
actually.
so we could find you at hannahdennison.com, and it's Hannah with an H on either end.
Yes.
Hannahdennison.com. We can Twitter you, so you can follow. Oh, we have a phone call. Somebody is finally calling in.
Darn it, because I was just going to claim that book as mine.
I know you were going to claim the book.
I was going to claim the book.
Okay, who's calling in? Who do we have? 303 is on the line. Hello? Oh, I don't know where 303 is, but we can't hear you.
I think that's Colorado, isn't it?
Hello? Okay. Then I get the book.
All right. Well, we tried. Can they? Are you chatting? Are they there to chat? No.
Okay.
Oh, we're so sad because we really do have to go off the air. Yeah. So okay. So we can follow you on Twitter. We can follow you on Facebook. You have an author page on Facebook.
I also have a Vicky Hill page on Facebook where Vicky Hill posts as Vicky Hill, and she shares her adventures in
I love
living
that.
on Plym.
Oh, that's exciting.
So she just went to an alpaca fete the other day. You know, so,
wonderful.
Yeah, things like that.
I have
Quirky.
to friend Vicky.
Yeah, please
Hill.
friend
We're going to
Vicky.
friend Vicky
She
Hill.
needs friends.
So, okay, so we're getting close to the end of the show. And well, we actually are at the end of the show. So, one thing that you're grateful for.
Friendships.
Yay.
Friendships. I made a lot of friends writing, and you, obviously,
Yay.
a new friend here.
New
Yeah,
friend.
friendships for sure.
Well, you're very friendly.
Well, I live in Portland now. That you are driving through. Was it drive friendly?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Well, I am grateful. I'm actually grateful for the pet sitting business that I have owned and operated for 16 years called Sit and Kitty here in Miracle Mile. And the reason why is because I have met incredible people. You were one of my very first clients, and we have stayed friends over all this time, and we have mourned our best friends, which we won't go into, or we'll both start crying on the air. But we have really been there through each other, for each other, and I'm so delighted that you're here. So I'm grateful for my pet sitting business because of all the wonderful things it's brought me outside of a business.
And I just keep saying this every week, but I'm so grateful for this show.
Me too.
It's
Yeah.
a wonderful
I
show.
just feel like after we talked to Hannah, and you talked about the first time you met her, and you said that she just baked a chocolate cake.
Oh, I'm so
great.
rude. Yeah.
It was so great. But so you kept
Yeah.
staring at it, and finally Hannah said, "Would you like a piece?" And
And
you
I was
said-
staring at this cake, and I wanted to take cake
and
home.
you said yes. And afterwards, after we spoke to Hannah, I said I felt like I just got served a piece of chocolate cake, and I just ate the most
It's true.
delicious
It's
chocolate
true.
cake. And
Meeting
you're
you,
so-
yes.
You're just
So-
so warm
you.
and personable, and
Well, we
thank
really
you.
we are so going over, and I know we've got to go. So I'm just going to say a couple of quick things. Next week we've got Patrick Harbula,
Yay.
author of Magic of the Soul. If you want to check out Patrick, you can go to livingpurposeinstitute.com. He is a life coach. He is a minister. He is a shaman. He's a really amazing
He's a
man,
mystic.
and I can't wait for you all to meet Patrick. So, and then you can follow us on Twitter. Please like our Facebook page, The Amazing Hour Radio Show. Please tell your friends. Please call in and win our gifts. Otherwise, we have to take them home, and that's a big, huge bummer.
Yes.
And thank you, Hannah, for
Thank
being
you,
on the show.
Thank you. Thank you. It was great. Thanks.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Amazing, I am amazing, I am amazing. You are amazing, you are amazing, you are amazing. We are amazing, we are amazing, we are amazing.
The views and opinions expressed in these radio programs are those of the individual hosts, not reflect